What's going on, guys? It's Steve. So LeBron James just passed Michael Jordan on the NBA's all-time scoring list. Now, Shannon Sharp, my man, really just shut Skip Bayless up. Shut him up because Skip Bayless, of course they're gonna bring in the comparisons, who's better, but that's not the point. They're both great players. I'm not even gonna say who I think was better in this video because you guys already know. Listen, this is just another category that LeBron James surpasses Michael Jordan in. Just another one. And he's pretty much going to pass in pretty much every statistical category. The only one I kind of doubt is the number of championships he actually does finish his career with. The amount of rings he finishes his career with. But it'll definitely be like one, probably, I'd say one away. Because he's probably going to win this year. That'll be 4. And maybe he'll win next year. That'll be 5. It's possible because for the next 3 years, I'm pretty sure the Cavaliers are going to go to the NBA Finals. But if Chris Paul goes to the Spurs, there comes the question of, like, is it going to be the Spurs or is it going to be the Warriors? Because if the Cavaliers can beat the Warriors this year, I don't think they'll have any problem defeating the Spurs. The only thing is how good is Kawhi Leonard going to be? How high is Kawhi's ceiling for potential? Because right now, I'm seeing an all-time great caliber player in Kawhi Leonard. Now, he is slightly, I wouldn't say overrated, but he gets a little bit too much credit for, the success of the Spurs, because if you look at it, during the regular season, that is. During the regular season, they actually play better with him off of the floor. But, again, I'm not really a big fan of advanced stats and things like that. I just wanted to bring that up. Excuse me. Kawhi Leonard's a great player, but that's not the point of this video. The point is that LeBron James, he's having a career that every other player could only dream of. You can only dream of this kind of stuff. You just think about it. He's literally a once-in-a-generation player. This will put things into perspective on how good LeBron James is. LeBron James came in one of the best drafts in NBA history. In my opinion, the best draft ever. Some people say 84 was better, with Michael Jordan, etc. Some people say 96 with Kobe and AI was better. I say 2003 was better, but that's not the point. The point is that LeBron James came with 3 other NBA all-time greats. Okay, Chris Bosh, who is a top 20 big man in NBA history. Okay, a top 60 player ever. Okay, you have Carmelo Anthony, who is a top 50 player of all time, a top 10 small forward ever, one of the greatest to ever play. Same thing with Chris Bosh. You have Dwyane Wade, who is the 3rd best shooting guard of all time and a top 25 player ever. So you have 3 of the top, let's say 50. Okay, let's just throw Bosh in the top 50. Maybe he's top 60, maybe he's top 70, whatever. Let's just throw him in the top 50 for reasons of this argument. You have 3 of some of the greatest players ever. Okay, along with LeBron, who some people consider the greatest ever. Some people say he's the 2nd best. Some people say he's the 3rd best. Some people just say he's top 5. Some people even go as far as say he's only top 10. But that's not the point. The point is that he stood out with 3 other NBA all-time greats. That is how crazy good LeBron James is. Okay, if you want to go back, Kobe Bryant is the same way. Kobe Bryant stood out in an era. Now, he wasn't drafted the same year as Tim Duncan or Dirk Nowitzki or Steve Nash. I actually think he was drafted the same year as Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Jason Kidd, Kevin Garnett. That whole era, 95, 6, and 7, they're all drafted around the same time, and all of those players were the top players in the world. You had Vince Carter, okay? You had Tracy McGrady, you had Allen Iverson, you had Dirk Nowitzki, you had Steve Nash, you had Ray Allen, you had Jason Kidd. Okay, these are all potential top 50 players of all time as well. But guess who stood out the most? Kobe. Okay, and if you would even want to go farther, Michael Jordan was drafted during the time of Larry Bird and Magic dominating the league. Okay, and everyone thought at that point in time Wilt and Kareem were the greatest ever. Okay, and then Magic and Larry came along, and people started saying, wait a minute, these 2 players are ridiculously good. But then Michael Jordan comes along, and he steals the spotlight from everyone. Now, this was a big man era when Jordan was in his prime. But, in his early years, Larry, Magic, and Isaiah. Okay? But the big man era with Karl Malone, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem the Dream. But Michael Jordan stole that spotlight. And LeBron James is doing the same exact thing with the 2003 draft. But it's not even just that draft. Because this whole era, in terms of players drafted, maybe a few years after LeBron with Chris Paul, Dwight Howard, Kevin Durant. Guess who gets the most attention? LeBron. Okay? He gets more attention than Melo. He gets more attention than Chris Bosh, than Dwyane Wade, than Kobe. I know Kobe was drafted like 7 years earlier, but you get my point. So this whole thing about LeBron that just shows how ridiculously good he is. Okay? Because no one's going to give someone this much attention if he's not as great. He's not, what I'm trying to say is, he's not going to get, no one's going to get the same amount of attention as someone that's one of the greatest ever to someone that's like top 50. For a prime example, no one's going to compare Carmelo Anthony to Michael Jordan. They're both all-time greats, but Michael Jordan's on another level. And that's the same thing with LeBron. LeBron is on a whole nother level. And it's scary. It's really scary. Because if you think about it, again, I listed just a few players. There's even more. Okay? You had Vince Carter. You had Tracy McGrady. You had Paul Pierce. Even now, you have Stephen Curry. You have Kevin Durant. Okay? All of these, especially Russell Westbrook and James Harden, even now, 14 seasons after LeBron James was drafted, he's still getting more attention than some of the youngest top players in the league. It's crazy. He's getting more attention than Stephen Curry. Last year was a little bit different, but right now he's getting more attention than Curry, than Kevin Durant, than James Harden, than Russell Westbrook, than Dame Dollar. That's Damian Lillard. He's getting more attention than all of these players, but he's 14 years pro. That says something special about LeBron James. That shows you how great he is. And if you want to look at his statistics, no one compares to him. 27-7-7. He has had an amazing career. He can retire right now. And again, this video is not about comparing him to MJ or Kobe, even though I kind of am. But I'm not saying who I think is better, because we already know who I think. That's not the point. The point is to celebrate LeBron passing Michael Jordan. That's a huge accomplishment. For the first time in, Michael Jordan, when was the last time he made the playoffs? 99, 98, right? His last championship appearance, I'm pretty sure, was his last playoff appearance as well. So, for the first time in almost 20 years, in almost 2 decades, for the first time, we have someone taking the crown in terms of playoff scoring dominance. Now, I agree with Skip Bayless on one thing, and I've said this before. People say LeBron is not a scorer. That is complete BS. LeBron James is one of the most lethal scorers in NBA history. He's not a pass-first player. I disagree with that as well. He likes to pass the basketball. He is a great passer, one of the best passers in NBA history. But I still think his scoring ability exceeds his passing ability. Now, it's not to take a shot at his passing ability. It's just to take some myths away, because this is how we form legends. Like, for example, Michael Jordan was perfect when he wasn't. And I don't want people 20 years from now thinking that LeBron James was a pass-first player, sort of like a point guard, that also averaged almost 30 points per game. I don't want people to overhype him, overrate him, even though he's potentially the best or second best ever. So the point is that LeBron James just accomplished something that no one has ever accomplished in the last 2 decades. And we're talking about the best era in NBA history, where we've had at least 25 of the top 50 players play in that era. But yet LeBron is the only one to come out on top. That says something a lot, man. So let's all appreciate LeBron. Congratulations. damn, man, I'm just, you know, every now and then, I remember watching NBA TV one day, a while back. I was young. And they were like, every 10 or so years, some NBA fans are lucky to be born at the perfect time to grow up watching someone become one of the greatest. Now, I'm not talking about like, like a Wade, Melo, or Bosh, or like a T-Mac, or a Paul Pierce, or a Ray Allen. Those are all great players. No doubt some of the best ever. I'm talking like a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, a LeBron James. Now, unfortunately for me, I started watching basketball around 2007, right after Kobe went on that crazy 50, 50, 50, 81, ridiculous scoring output. But I saw Kobe's last probably 4 or 5 years in his prime. And it was ridiculous to see him and LeBron go at it. Now, I wish I could have seen them in the NBA Finals. But Dwight Howard ruined that. But that's not the point. The point is that myself and anyone else who is in the same age group as I am, or old enough to understand what we just witnessed and what we are witnessing. I'm not going to get all corny about we're all witnesses. I'm using the word literally, not as a pun. We just witnessed greatness. And it's not even close to being done. That's the scariest part about it to me. Anyway, it's been your man Steve. I'm out. Peace.